This is man, and I am the voice of man on earth in this period. This is an address to mankind that should serve as a reminder to all of you that man is that which is the proponent of grace. Man is that which is the proponent of life. And this is to remind you all to seek grace. It is man that you are referring to in your religion when you speak the term Amen. This term in its truest sense is Amun. This is who you're referring to when you speak of grace being bestowed upon one or favor being shown to one or grace offered or extended to one. So in essence, what I'm saying to you is man is that which bestows grace. Man is that which offers or gives grace. And if any of you seek to have that grace bestowed upon you or offered you or a pardon, it would behoove you to hearken and adhere to the words that are spoken to you in this message. These words are for all of you, mankind. So listen clearly. You have lived vacant of the meaning of life. This grace is that which encompasses all of the essences of man. And this is what we who sit atop life understand to be our innate state. You, mankind, shall begin to listen to we man, I in particular, as my words weigh heavily, and they do matter. I am he who is able to deliver these words, this statement, in fact. You, mankind, will hearken these words and adhere to these words, for they are in fact derivatives of life itself. Furthermore, I communicate this as a mortal to remind all of you of the state of life, the will of life, and the will of man, which is the will of that which is referred to vaguely as Amen. This term is actually referring to that which is Amun, as it relates to the living of the corporal and physical lower degree beings. You had better listen. All of you will get back to seeking to understand your true purpose concerning your existence in relation to man. And for those of you that need a reminder, your purpose for existence is to do service to man and to assist man. You are not that which leads life. Even the aspect of life that you have been given responsibility for has been given you by man. So from here forward, the words that I speak shall be adhered to and will not be taken lightly. For again, I state to you, I am the voice of man on earth, which would mean that I am a representative of man. And each word that I speak comes from man of a higher degree than I. I am the vessel through which man communicates to you, mankind. So all of you, listen up and pay close attention to every word that I utter. For according to your adherence to these words that I utter, life itself will measure out your punishment. You may be asking yourself, what steps can I take to ensure that I seek grace, that I receive this pardon and lessen my punishment? The first thing that you, mankind, can do is begin to check your behavior, because this is the way that you find grace from man. It is through your behavior that you are able to gain pardon. And it is through your adherence to the structure of life that you are able to gain favor. Your ability to adhere to the directives that are issued through I will be your first step in seeking grace from man. And while we're here, let's go ahead and put things in their proper perspective so you understand that it is man that you should be listening to moving forward. Throughout your existence, you have always only been that which discovers what had already been in existence. And your whole existence is dependent on the byproduct of something that is much greater than that. So what I mean by this is you, mankind, are produced from that which is a byproduct of life. And the top of your existence has no relevance within life at all. In fact, you do not understand life. And as stated before, you have lived vacant of this understanding of life. But those of we that have stepped forward in this period to begin to issue the directives for the motion forward, to provide leadership on earth, to reestablish the order and structure of life and the way of man on earth, the way of truth. We are they that speak on behalf and as representatives of life. So from here forward, your attitude will be an attitude of gratitude and humility. You will also display a demeanor of respect and reverence to what man is and what life is. You will no longer take for granted, nor will you live ignorant of the fact that you have been privileged to have had your existence within this degree of man. From this moment forward, all of you, mankind, will begin to take responsibility for yourselves. You will no longer be allowed to make excuses for your bad behavior. You will correct your behavior. You will no longer look outside of yourselves for something to fix you, nor will you meddle in anyone else's issues. You will focus on your own. None of you has any knowledge of life anyway, so there is nothing you can do to help someone else fix theirs. This should be quite evident in the mess that we witness on a cyclical basis, with all of you claiming to be in control of things. No more pacifiers, no more excuses. You have found your way into the world of man, and now you shall be held accountable. If each of you was actually doing your part to better humanity, why is it that we see so much filth on earth right now? And why is so-called humanity in the state that it's in? First of all, you are not humanity. You are animals, and this is exactly how you've been acting on earth. But now it's time for all of you to be trained and tamed. I do realize that your deceptive leaders have sounded false alarms when it comes to certain things that are to transpire. It is understood and it is documented that at some period on earth, there will be a process of a judgment. Let me remind you, as before stated, my words weigh heavily, and you best adhere to them. So if these words are being spoken to you in this period by I, who is the voice of man on earth and a representative of man, who is a vessel through which man of a higher degree speaks, and you are being warned and given the opportunity to get yourselves in order and to seek grace, it would be wise and in your best interest to take heed. Cease with your insolence and humble yourselves. Seek grace, for this is your only hope. I know that the hardest thing for any of you mankind to do is to admit that you don't know everything and to accept that you are not the top of anything. But this is just fact. It is truth. You are not that which is the proponent of life. You do not bring any life forward. You do not create. You are a created being yourself. You, mankind, are still struggling with understanding how you were created or produced and brought into existence. This knowledge is elementary to those of us who have an understanding of life. So again, I say to you, in this period, the only voice that you should be listening to is that which is the voice of man on earth in this period. And let's be clear. I denounce and reject this system of reptiles and demons and every cycle that I, man, woman, or child is subjected to this filthy mess that you have put down on this earth, this commercial system. It is being taken into account and that measure is being increased. You remember the measure we spoke about before? The measurement of your punishment? Take heed to these words. Your period is winding down quickly. There will be no reset. There will be no revamp. There will just be a finishing of all that you have done on earth, and a finishing of you as well. I remind you again, this level of existence has no bearing on that which is the grand L. It's quite ironic that you have spent your whole existence trying to avoid being at dis-ease when that is exactly what you are to life, a dis-ease, and you shall be eradicated. This is imminent for those who don't take heed to these words and begin to adhere. Now, for those of you who may find wisdom and begin to act upon that and seek grace, there may be a lessening of the degree that you will experience, but yet still a correction. I'll share one thing with all of you that will be the fastest way to put yourself on the track to correcting this mess that you have made on earth. This one thing is this: stop lying. Begin to live in truth. Stop lying to yourselves and stop lying to each other. You should not be speaking unless you are discussing amongst yourselves what you have heard man speak in an effort to gain more understanding. Otherwise, you should not be making noise at all. You should be in your thoughts, seeking clarity and understanding of what is upright and how your behavior should model that, so that when you are in the vicinity of I, man, woman, or child, you know how to conduct yourselves in a manner that is befitting to being in our presence. Again, I remind you, my words weigh heavily, and in every instance where there is a lack of adherence, it will be taken into account. This has been Man. I'm done.